Hey, hello. I am your host, not with the most, a little depressed, a little anxious, a little sad, a little hopeful. He's just a mess. Dimitri Long, and or you may more popularly know me by the Flimsy Artist. And today, welcome to episode 1 of Common Sense, where I tell you about things that should have been common sense to me, but wasn't. And now I just want it to be common sense to you because common sense is actually not that common, surprisingly. Maybe we need to call it rare sense. But, like my dad jokes, but this podcast is mostly just about my life. That's like the hook why I got you here, but honestly, it's just me giving you little updates about what am I doing with my life. So, I really decided to do this because I'm going to die one day, and that is a thought that is thoughting, I guess. That is a thought that I'm having, and I want to do so much. I want to accomplish so much. I want people to know my name. I want to do groundbreaking research. I want to fix this dystopia that we're living in. Like, we are living in, I feel like the problem is capitalism, but that's here nor there. The problem also is nationalism. When we separate and say we're the US or we're China, obviously two groups are gonna fight when we're all human. But I just want to do so much, and I want to track that growth, track that progress for the future generations, because unfortunately, I can't be here forever. So one day, people are going to look back and be like, he did amazing things. Let's listen to his life. Wow. And that's this for you. It's kind of my therapy because I can't afford it, but it's also more so when I get rich and famous and I become that bitch, you can see how I got there. So we're just gonna go through our first 7 days of 20. Well, actually, before we even do that, let me give you a little bit of insight on how my 2023 went, and then we'll get into the first week of 2024, and then we'll end the podcast there. So, for me, 2023 was a wild ride. I was 15 in the beginning of the year and turned. Nope, I said that wrong. I don't know my own age. I was 16 in the beginning of the year and turned 17. Yay. I am a dual enroller, so that means I did high school and college at the same time, which is a bit strange because junior year was technically my last year of high school, and my senior year of high school I never even went. But I was still formally enrolled in my high school institution, so it was very weird not having like high school to tell me like you have to be here from 8 to 3 p.m. So I just kind of picked up hella hours at my workplace. Of McDonald's. Follow me on LinkedIn, shameless plug. But yeah, and then my college, Cincinnati State, I just I transferred to that college that 2023 because 2020 and 2021 I was going to an amazing community college called Chatfield College, and it's no longer a college. It transferred into being like the Chatfield Edge, which is kind of like a non-profit that helps students secure scholarships. But yeah, I was kind of mad about it because I loved Chatfield, like with a shameless passion, because it met you where you were, and that was different for everybody, but it did that, and I love that. But I moved on to a bigger institute, Cincinnati State, and that was terrible. I had to give you a little pause because that was just it's a good institute in the sense of there's a lot of people, there's a lot of help, there's a lot of resources, and there is a lot of courses you could possibly take. It's a bad institution in the sense of there's too many people for the staff to handle, and the systems in place are not effective. Like the calendar year we have is terrible. And I can say this, I've been there for a year, and I will be graduating with an honors associates of science in May. How lucky, 18 and graduated with a degree. Um, but yeah, it was terrible. Like we get like a 3 day break in between semesters, and I that type of person that takes spring, summer, and fall semester, and then the only long break you really get is your Christmas break, which is much appreciated. But it was not how we did things at Chatfield. And I feel like the way we had it set up at Chatfield, we took longer breaks, but we learned more than what I learned at Cincinnati State. Cincinnati State is a lot of filler. Now, don't get me wrong. I am an alumni at Cincinnati State. I went to Cincinnati State, so I love my school. Bought some merch, but that's not to say that it doesn't have its own issues. So yeah, I kind of did that, and then, like I said, I picked up more hours because when you're only taking like 4 or 5 or 6, 7 courses, it's like I'm bored in the house all day, so I just picked up mass hours. And then I also met a boy, and we started dating around like June, and it's been fun. And yeah, that just went how it went. Like at first it was a bit awkward, and then it got a bit serious, and then it got a bit complicated, and now it's back like lovey-dovey. But as far as like at December, I was kind of just like over it because I care about titles a lot, guys, and I fixate on things that I want, and I generally get the things that I want because I just put in an insane amount of effort into it until I get it, and I was feeling like I was not making any progress with this boy. So I was very much ready in 2024 to just do a clean slate and focus on my 4 year institution that I will be attending this fall. Haha. And just focus on me for a while. And then probably when I was gearing up to graduate, I would go ahead and start dating again. But nope. That's not how it worked. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, so I did that. And then also in 2023, I think one last major thing I would be amiss not to talk about is the fact that I got into Harvard. Yeah, that's kind of sick. But yeah, I got into Harvard University. So since I'm technically still formally enrolled at my high school, I could apply regular to Harvard. That's what I did. I did that restrictive early action. Harvard has been like my dream school since 6th grade, and I've always told people like I'm going to Harvard. You know, they laughed. They didn't believe me. And then I got in in December. I think they sent me like December 15th, December 16th, something like that. It was mid-December. And it was like December 14th, I believe. Yeah, I think it was December 14th. But I was literally with the boy going on a date. I was on the phone with my granny, and she asked me like, "Oh, it's cool that you got into Miami's honors college, but did you hear anything from Harvard?" And I was like, "They just sent me an email, ha ha ha." And then I got really quiet because it said status update. I clicked on it, and it was like, "Congratulations, class of 2028." And I was like, "Oop, I got into Harvard." So that is something that happened to me. Yeah. I am very appreciative and grateful. I do feel like I've earned it, and I don't have any strong feelings yet. I have not toured campus. I have not even started my first year. So I have no strong feelings yet. But I do hope when I get there to Boston and I go to Harvard, it's like, yay, I'm at Harvard. I'm around all of these geniuses. And then, just for some context, I feel like the reason I got into Harvard is because of my college, my authorship, and my research. I feel like those were the three hooks that kind of secured my spot into Harvard. My college, I started college in freshman year of high school. Like, in the same, like, month I started high school, I started college. But before that, what got me interested in it was I did some research in my 8th grade year, did some research at Central State University. It's a HBCU. Logo is ranked the worst college in the United States. Go off. Fantasia goes there. But I did some research into GMOs and sleep deprivation. It was fun. I won the best award. I don't know how I did that, but me and this dude, we won the best award for it. So I got really interested into college and research and like how could I start that journey early, because I didn't want to wait 4 years. I'm very impatient. And then I did my fixation and I found out my school has a program where you can dual enroll. Now, typically, this was for the juniors and seniors who needed a little extra credits that can take at the community college to make up for something they didn't get earlier. But I decided, like, if I can pass the test, I'll just take the courses now. So I was very nervous, and I ended up taking the test at Chatfield. I was like, oh my God, this is a real college. Am I even smart enough for this? And I basically scored into the top percentile of every like subject, and I could take any course I wanted as far as general eds and level 100 courses. So I took only 2 classes because I was like, I don't even know if I can take 1 class, because my school is a college prep school, so they are always like, college is going to be so much harder than this, college is going to be hell. And so I was kind of scared, and I got like perfect hundreds in both of those classes in my freshman year. And then what I've noticed is that it takes a full year to get a credit in high school, and it only takes about 3 or 4 months to get a full year's worth of credit for college. So I kind of gamed the system and just started taking hella college classes, which proved out pretty worth it. I ended up taking about like over 100 college credits, which translated to like 30 high school credits. Mind you, you only needed like 20 credits to graduate. So I ended up having about 4 times the requirement to graduate. So I basically created a high school. I completed a high school. If you want to look at it a different way, I completed a high school diploma each year of my high school career. That's how many courses I took. Like, I mean, in 1 year, I took Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3, and Spanish 4, and AP Spanish, all like together. And mind you, I'm not a native speaker. That was hell and kind of silly on my part, but I managed to squeak out A's in all of those classes. I got 101 in all of them. I'm sick. But, yeah. So that is something that happened. And so I had so many college credits that if I would have went to a 4-year institute instead of a 2-year institute, I would have had a bachelor's degree. So I think that definitely helped me get into Harvard. But the other thing was research. Like I said, I started research in the 8th grade at Central State. I continued my research through, I basically did an independent study, a math statistical analysis with the lead math department teacher. And we ended up taking a course at Harvard about research and how to research properly. And I passed that course with like a low A, like the lowest A I've ever had. That course was hard as fuck. Mind you, I was like a sophomore at the time. And yeah, and that was very difficult. And then I like just farm, and basically what the research paper was about was taking data points from my high school and other high schools in the local area versus the rich high schools and the funded high schools, and showing how it's not a disparity in the kids' knowledge. Like, my high school doesn't have dumb kids and the rich high school just have smart kids. That's not the issue. The issue is funding, resources. The rich neighborhoods have more resources that the kids can utilize, so they have it a bit easier. They start ahead of the race. That was what my research was showing. And I just wanted to get the hang of doing my own research with, no necessary help. Like, I did that independently. So I did that. And then my next research thing was Pioneer Academics. And if you know, Pioneer is kind of like a feeder town into like Ivy Leagues and the top 20s and the sister schools. I was so surprised I got in. I could not afford it, and I ended up getting in on full scholarship, baby. It was hell to get that full scholarship, I tell you. And I honestly didn't think I would get it, because I also, at the same time I was applying to Pioneer, got into Crestbridge, the little junior program, and they had a program where they'll give you a full ride. They'll give you the money to go to Pioneer, and they said I was not a competitive candidate. Well, they didn't say that. They just said they had more interesting people, which kind of hurt. But then again, I didn't tell them like the full story. I just told them I have straight A's in college classes. I didn't tell them what I'm going to tell you guys, which I told Harvard, which I think that helped too. But yeah, so Questbridge didn't give me the funding, so I had to go through directly Pioneer Academics. I did not think they were going to give me the funding, so I didn't think I would be able to participate in the program. I applied for bio because I was taking a lot of science classes, and law because I was taking a lot of law classes, and I ended up getting into law. Don't know why. Thought I was pretty competitive for science, but got into law. Got a professor called Dr. I can't remember her name, but she was amazing. Dr. Aziz? Aziz. That's how you spell it. And yeah, she was amazing. Love her to death. She was just so bright, so smart, and then she went to all of these Ivy Leagues and these London institutions. She just went to massive top schools. So I was very intimidated by her, but she was amazing, and she guided me. And then plus this is when I was getting very sick, probably from all of the work, because I work in the public sphere at McDonald's, so I probably was encountering a lot of sick people. And I just kept getting sick back to back to back to back. And she was very patient with me, very take your time, it's okay, don't stress out. And I ended up getting a top 10% paper in that program. So, yay! And she gave me an A on the paper. I wrote about global affairs. I wrote about specifically how our policies in the U.S. should start to favor technology, foreign affairs, and I forgot the other one, but yeah, I wrote this paper 2 years ago. Forgive me, 2.5 years ago. But it starts to favor these three categories that would basically restore the image of the U.S. Because right now the U.S. was the superpower, the global hegemon, as we say in the course, and then she kind of I say she, the U.S. is a person, but U.S. kind of fell off. So I was just theorizing on how we can restore that with evidence, and I had to read 1,000 different books during this 6-month period. And at the same time I was interning at the courthouse in Cincinnati, so the juvenile courthouse in Cincinnati, and it was a lot going on. Mind you, I was still dating, I was still taking 7 courses, I was still working full time, and then to add into all of that, my mom had cancer, breast cancer. So that was kind of sick, because now not only I had to deal with that, but I also had to deal with putting funding into a home. I did not realize how much groceries cost until I started buying them for everybody. I didn't realize rent, water, energy, gas. I didn't know gas was a separate thing from electric. I didn't know water was a separate thing from sewage. So it was a lot. It was a lot that I had to pay and fork out of my checks. And I was getting pretty good checks, because I got a promotion to a crew trainer very quickly. And so, that was something on top of going to high school, on top of going to doing this research program, on top of interning, and on top of working full time. So it was a lot going on. And then the last thing that I feel like got me in is my authorship, which may have brought you here, honestly. But my authorship is basically, it's a lot, but it started back in 7th grade where I wrote my first book, in 8th grade when I published my first book. My first book was a hot mess, and I thus unpublished it, but it got like 1,000 reads or something like that. It had like 5,000 comments on it, and it was a time to be alive. Like it was a book basically about a character in college, because I used to fantasize about being like, I used to say I wasn't a real college student. I wanted to be an actual college student, which I was. I mean, we took the same courses, did everything that a college student was. I just wasn't in the dorm. And so I wrote about a character in the dorm, but this character basically knows he's getting into a relationship with the person he's in a dorm, which is number one rule, don't do that. But he's getting into a relationship with his dorm mate, and his dorm mate kind of like knows everything about him, but he doesn't know that. And that's kind of like the premise of the book. Took that down, reworked it. It is sitting right here in my lap. I'm going to do some final edits and publish it again soon. But yeah, that was the book I published in 8th grade. I've written many books thus far, and I started my own publishing company. Then I also written many research papers. I've written many articles. Like, I just feel like authorship is like kind of what got me in. I've written for many writing competitions and won, stuff like that. So I feel like all of those factors combined just showed them like I was very competitive, and from the fact that I did not come from like one of these Exeter schools. Like, I just came from a normal, regular prep school where most of the kids didn't even go to college, and it's majority, African American. But I don't think African American played into it, because the Supreme Court overturned that affirmative action in my graduating year. So you're sick. Clarence, get off the bench. But anyway, yeah, they did that. So I got in, not based off my race, but based off my merit. Ha, we're a meritocracy. That's a lie. But, I did, technically. And, yeah, so that was kind of like my 2023. Now, my first week of 2024 was, and mind you, I've been waiting on 2024 for 17 years, because guess what? I'm 17 and I'm turning 18. Ha ha ha. And I know this is like kind of every, kids kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm finna be an adult. But I'm just in a unique situation where I'm just like, I kind of need, like, I make a decent chunk of change working full time. I want my money in my name. I want my cars in my name. I want my investing accounts in my name. I want my insurance in my name. Like, that's my big thing about 18. It's like, I have everything, not everything, but I have a lot of things an adult would have, but just not in my name. And I've gotten into situations where, it's hard times sometimes, and they touch my funds. And it's technically in their name, so they can do that, and it's nothing I can do, and that's very discouraging. So that's my big thing. So I'm like, I have been psyched for 2024, and then on the first day of the year, I spent it with that boy I met, and it was quite amazing, actually, like very phenomenal, like 11 out of 10 status on our little date, and when we were sleeping in the bed together, because I just feel like it's a different type of vibe, I guess. Whereas in 2023, it was more like dating, conversational, non-serious. In 2024, I do very feel a commitment being made, a dedication, a relationship being formed. And we also agree to talk about more seriously our relationship in February, specifically February 11th, because it's like, what are we? And I love titles. Give me a title. But like the first and the second was just amazing, amazing. And then Wednesday was just kind of like I just went to work for 8 hours, did the 9 to 5 grind, worked a little bit on my LinkedIn and stuff like this, and I had a surprise, and I checked my GPA, my high school GPA, because I was like, I haven't been in high school in about a year now, let me check my GPA. I have like a 5.095, and I was just like, my unweighted GPA is also above a 4.0, and you may be wondering, how can your unweighted GPA get above a 4? Well, you can get an A+ in a course if you do like something like extraordinary in that course. Extraordinary, some people say. And I've done that for a few courses, so my GPA climbed up to a 4.38. A 4.138 for my unweighted. And it also goes along with the courses. So like I've taken more college courses than I have high school courses. So that boosted up my scale, because college courses are on like I think a 5-point scale, maybe a 6-point scale. But yeah. Yeah, so my unweighted GPA is like above a 4, and then my weighted GPA is above a 5. And like I'm addicted and obsessed with that. I at least want it to be a 5.1 when I graduate. I'm gonna try to like take mega courses again this spring semester and boost it up to like a 5.5, but I don't think that's gonna happen, because one, I work full time, and two, why would I do that? But I might, who knows. I just at least want that 5.1 status. And then Thursday and Friday I was with that boy again. You know, he's not gonna get a name until February 11th, and even then he may not get a name if we decide to, you know, go our separate ways without getting into a relationship. So I spent that Thursday and that Friday, and it was very nice. Like, it was giving 10 out of 10 once again. It was giving it was just giving, we have separation issues, we are together forever. And I'm an obsessive person, and that just, I don't know, it tamed my obsession just for a little bit. So yeah, so I was very, and then Saturday, Sunday was like meh. Well, Saturday was meh. No. Sunday was meh. Saturday was hell, because I had a manager, and that manager never runs their shift well, and they didn't this time either. No surprise. So I had to work like hell. But other than that, I would say my first week of January 2024 has been nothing but bliss. So I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Author's Purpose. Since I said it, I do have another podcast that I might record literally after this one, called Author's Purpose, where I talk to authors about the purpose of their novels. If you want to go check it out, it's all of these. It's on all of the same social medias, streaming platforms, whatever you may call them, that Common Sense is on. But thank you for watching Common Sense. This has been your host. I hope you like this first episode. Many more to come. All right. Peace.